Oh, hey Internet, how's it going? This week, a video blaming social media for making us all mindless and lonely goes viral, thanks to social media. The system works. A blogger is fined for writing a negative review that did too well in the search engines. Naturally, this story's from France. And Verizon tries to blame Netflix for bad streaming speeds, only to be called out by a higher-level ISP. I hope you're ready to listen for the next hour because it's going to be good. My name's Justin Pott. I'm in Vail, Colorado, and you're listening to Technophilia. Keep doing that. With me today from the UK, as always, is Mr. James Bruce. How's it going, James?
I'm doing good, but thanks for all that rigmarole, I've now run out of beer.
Oh, you run out of beer. So we just had to start re-recording because of a technical issue. And, you know, James had something funny to say last time, and now he's just complaining about out of beer. So I might as well just move on to Mr. Dave LeClaire in Connecticut. How's it going, Dave?
Let's go in somewhere. To the moon, maybe.
To the moon. Oh, speaking of to the moon, guys, I am interviewing the founder of Dogecoin tonight. So if you guys have any suggestions for questions you want, get to work on that. It's gonna be good.
Can you ask him why the price has plummeted and why the devs refuse to do anything about the algorithm changing?
Maybe. See, I didn't know this was going on. This is a good thing for me to know. I'll look into it. I think the price is plummeting because it's designed to have massive inflation, so people keep using it instead of hoarding it, isn't it? Like that was
there's a big worry right now because the hash rate, the total number of devices that are working on, say, Litecoin, is now like 20 times that of Dogecoin, which makes Dogecoin very vulnerable. And of course, no one wants to mine Dogecoin anymore because it's worth nothing. And if it's worth nothing, no one mines it. It's vulnerable, and then if it's vulnerable, no one wants it. So it's just, it's a plummeting little spiral. And
we'll see.
The creators of Litecoin
Yeah.
suggested we do like a merged mining thing with Litecoin, and the devs of Dogecoin basically just said, now we're going to wait it out and see. And they kind of said that 3 months ago, and it ended up where we are today.
Okay, so you started taking seriously a digital currency that was named after a meme.
Well, in fairness, it still has the third largest market cap of all digital currencies, so it's not like...
But did you really expect that to stick?
Well, it's still sticking, but it's on a downward spiral, and it's worrying because,
We'll address that and more, but for now, I want to get into this viral video that's been spreading more a couple months ago than now, but it's called Look Up. It's all about blaming technology, basically, for all of the problems humans have. Have you guys seen this?
Nope.
Okay, so it's got a bit of a rhyming scheme, and he goes over a whole bunch of stuff, but I thought I would just talk about it a little bit, because decrying the evils of social media is the topic du jour today on social media. Perhaps nothing better encapsulates this than Look Up, which I was just talking about, a YouTube video that went viral earlier this year. Now, Gary Turk, who made the video, clearly put a lot of work into the project and was rewarded handsomely. The video bounced around Facebook faster than a cat riding a Roomba and is verging on 45 million views as of this writing. Now, the rhyme scheme's annoying and at times somewhat cloying, but the visuals are great with a message we can relate to. A message we can relate to. A message to which we can relate. Sorry, I'm bad at rhymes. Anyway, if you can get over the rhythmless rhyme scheme long enough to watch this video, let me give you a summary. The first half points out that smartphones are distracting us from the entirety of life. You'll see people looking at phones instead of each other, complaints about how no one talks to each other on trains anymore because those social interactions were always awesome, and a montage of and complaints about how playgrounds are empty, presumably because those pesky kids just love their friggin' video games. The second half gets around to telling a story. A man doesn't have a smartphone, and as such has to ask a beautiful woman for directions. Obviously, they fall in love immediately, as always happens, and a montage of the two of them paying attention to each other and actually living life commences. Marriage, kids, old age, all because he asked for directions. Now, the video concludes with a repeat of the scene where the loving couple first met. But this time, the man has a smartphone in hand. Instead of asking for directions, he looks up where to go. Tragedy. He walks right past the girl he should have married, unaware his life is ruined forever. See? Technology's bad. Now, I should be a sucker for this message. I've made my dislike of smartphone zombies clear in the past, and I myself do not own a smartphone. But this doesn't resonate with me at all, possibly because my marriage wouldn't have ever happened without the internet. My wife and I met in person, but lived apart for an entire year shortly after meeting. I fell in love staring at a screen, reading her emails every night, and responding with my own. If this video was about me, it would feature me deciding not to spend time on the computer lab after class, instead being attentive to the people around me in the real world. I would then cheat on my girlfriend. I would then never get married and die. Alone. Attentive to my surroundings, but alone. See, technology's good. Of course, this is stupid. My story doesn't prove technology is connecting us any more than the story in Look Up shows it's driving us apart. Any object, a car, a smartphone, a television, can be used in a way that connects you with other people or a way that isolates you. It's entirely up to you. My problem with this video isn't that I don't think there's a problem. There is. We're an increasingly distracted society. But Lookup blames the technology too much and the people using that technology too little. You have agency. If you feel isolated because you spend too much time on Facebook, stop using it to read about other people's lives and start using it to plan get-togethers. If you find video games take up so much of your time you never socialize, make a promise to yourself to only play games with other people. You're not being controlled by your gadgets, you're controlling them. At least you should be. And if you're not, you have only yourself to blame. Now, James, why do we keep blaming technology for problems that clearly have other sources? Be it ourselves, discipline. What's...
Well, we blame technology because it's easy, just like we blame games for violence because it's easy, even though it's rubbish, right? But
yeah,
technology clearly brings us closer together. I mean, how are we less social than we were 50 years ago? Like, we didn't even have telephones then.
Yeah.
Like, nowadays you can lie in bed and message every single one of your friends in an instant.
I'm talking to you right now.
Before. Well, exactly. How is this less social? I'm now being social with people in America.
Yeah,
that wouldn't have happened.
Here I am at this weird condo thing that's bigger than my apartment somewhere in the mountains, joining my wife for a conference, and I can keep doing my job just the same as before, and I can keep socializing with you as though nothing's different whatsoever. How is that not great? Awesome. Yeah, I just think it's incredible. I feel I'm more social because of it, but maybe some people are less social. Now, Dave, there's a scene in here I get to a little later that I didn't mention in the montage, but basically there's a montage of the two of them being together, right, and having togetherness time. And one example of them being together and having togetherness time is clearly them watching TV together. Like they're sitting on the couch.
That's an important time-spending thing.
Yeah. Now that, of course, is the soul-sucking diversion of yesteryear. If this video was made in the 1960s, it would have been about how TV is distracting us from the real moments in our lives. But in 2014,
TV is distracting us. Let's not.
In 2014, TV is such a natural part of human existence that watching it with a loved one is a visual symbol of paying attention to the people you're with, provided you also smear ice cream on your loved one's face. I mean,
where did that come from?
That's in the video. He smears ice cream on. They're watching TV, and then like she smears ice cream on his face, and it's like, oh, look, they're together watching a screen. But at least it's not a smartphone, right? Are you familiar with the work of Douglas Adams, James? I assume you are, being British.
The Hitchhiker's Guide, yeah.
Yeah, he wrote another book with a very famous quote in it, and it goes like this: anything in the world when you're born is normal and ordinary and just part of the way the world works. Anything that's invented between when you're 15 and 35 is new and exciting and revolutionary, and you can probably get a career in it. Anything invented after you're 35 is against the natural order of things. I think this sums up a lot of how we write to technology, right? And it's a minor point, right, the TV being in there, but I think it speaks to something, right? The new technology, that's what's distracting us. The old stuff that we had debates over in the past and a lot of people still argue with, that's fine. That's just there. Now, to be fair, having a shared experience can be good for relating to people, right? This is why people like to go to the movies or a play on a date, right? Like, that's not a bad thing. You've got something to talk about after. I mean, I would just...
Do you really think that's a good... I always thought, like, going to the movies was such a bad date. Like, you're just sitting there and there's that awkward, oh, shall I touch her hand for, like, an hour or something? It's, oh, no, that's... Please don't.
It gives you lots of things to think about, to talk about for after the movie. Though you have that whole movie, sit there and like you can jot down topic ideas. Like,
I mean, that's why it works.
That was terrible.
And to be fair, like my favorite thing about Facebook, I mean, the reason I kind of like it, is you have stuff to talk about with people when you meet them later. Yes, I mean, if you're using it to replace your social life, that's bad, but it can supplement it. Now, instead of being like, oh, I should show you these photos and sitting with them when you're in that time together, you can be like, no, I saw those last week, and then you can just have a conversation. So
I wish I had Facebook when I was dating. I'd have been able to check them out beforehand and vet them before wasting my time, you know?
James is like, oh,
crazy.
Talk crap about the Oculus Rift, not dating.
Exactly.
Oh, enjoys the Nintendo Wii, not dating. Like, you would have just been filtering everything, yeah. Would you have found anyone? I wonder.
Well, I managed to somehow.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm getting really close to that age of where everything's suddenly going to become blamable for all of society's problems. Just after the Oculus Rift, I expect everything from then on have to start blaming.
Yeah, I mean, Douglas Adams isn't a scientist. I don't think he actually researched this age. And I think Gary Turk, who made the video in question, is about our age. And I'm not saying this video is just bad and terrible. I mean, I could do without the rhyming, but I guess for some people it makes it have more impact. And at least he didn't try to rap, right? I mean, that clearly would have been terrible. But I just think focusing more on the human side of it's more. I mean, ironically, in a video that kind of blames tech for things, the big problem is he was thinking too much about the tech and not enough about the people. And you solve problems like this by thinking about people, right? And you know, it's all about discipline. If you want to waste your life watching TV, you're going to waste your life watching TV. If you want to waste your life scrolling through Facebook, you're going to do the same thing. Any tool works as well as you want to use it. Now, I think video games are the same way, Dave. You've written about how video games can make you a better person in some ways.
That's true. They can. I don't remember what reasons. I don't remember the reasons I said.
RPGs can teach you about financial management. I mean, there is skills that can come from these, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a complete just waste of time. And you know, yes, it's basically an artificially designed world made to be just challenging enough to keep you interested, but not challenging that you quit right away. And that's not like the real world. The real world is going to be so challenging that you want to quit, and you need to not. So maybe playing hard video games is better than playing easy ones. But I don't know. Again, technology gives a lot of benefits, and there's a lot of potential downsides, but it's all about how you use it. Now, you were saying before, James, that you hate asking people for directions. And it's not a particularly positive social interaction, is it? Because you don't understand what's going on. And I've never fallen in love with someone based on that circumstances. Have you?
No, absolutely not. I like when other people ask me for directions, because then I can be all snazzy. I can whip out my smartphone and be like, you got to go 5 meters in this direction, turn that way, go that, you're there.
Yep.
But I hate asking anything. The problem is I'm antisocial mainly because I hate people. I'd really like to blame technology for that, but it's bullshit.
Yeah.
I just hate people.
You just hate people. So, you know, here you are, talking to people for a couple hours on Wednesday. People. Yeah, instead of just being a cranky young man sitting on your porch. Like, get off your lawn. Like technology is making you social to a certain
extent. Playing with my chickens, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I just see, you wouldn't have the shotgun in your lap with the rocking chair on the deck. You just have a chicken that your kid puts on the lawn, and the chicken just freaks out. Do you do that ever? Do you just sit there stroking your chicken?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay, see?
It's very therapeutic, actually.
Petting chickens?
Petting any kind of animal is very therapeutic. You must know that.
Yeah, stroking your chicken.
Stroking your chicken. I feel like there's a joke there.
Yeah, probably. We're going to have to get our best joke scientists on this. You're going to have to.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now, but.
Dave, get out a pad of paper, start writing some stuff down, and formulate a joke and interrupt us.
Therapeutic joke, choking, and stroking.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of. Kind of like a dog, right? He's petting the chicken instead of a dog. That's kind of funny. Stroking the chicken. I can't think of how that would happen. Yeah, we got to move on from this. Yeah. I don't think there's actually a joke there, Dave.
No, I think we're reaching too hard on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, sure. If you ask someone for directions, you might meet someone. And if you manage to be clever enough, you might impress them enough to start a conversation. But I don't know. I think there are enough advantages to having this technology to outweigh these potential instances where we ignore each other. And anyways, having a smartphone is not the problem. It's your willingness to ignore the world around you for the smartphone. I wonder if
there's a study that shows the success of marriages based on online dating versus regular random marriages.
There almost certainly is, and I think it was about 1-to-1, but that's just me off the top of my head. You could look it up.
That's unfortunate.
Arranged marriages tend to work out better than anything, though.
Well, that's because they can't get divorced, though, right? Aren't they not allowed to?
Well, in a society where arranged marriages are still happening, there's more societal pressure on you to make the marriage work out, and that's probably part of why. But just saying, it's not as simple as more choice equals more commitment. Yeah.
Well, no, but better matching. On online dating, for instance.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends what you use for matching. I mean, there are historic social networks that might work just as well. It depends what you value. If you want someone who shares your, I don't know, philosophical point of view, you might meet them at college. Like But yeah, if you didn't manage to do that at church or at school or whatever, online dating's a huge benefit if you don't have those built-in social networks.
I met mine at college. It was just I was the teacher.
Oh man, there's a whole creepy history there we could get into. Yeah. You were teaching high school students in Japan and you met your wife?
Not in high school. Whoa. Back it up.
Back it up. You were teaching college in Japan?
Yes. Okay.
Senior? Or like fourth year students or like first?
All of them.
All of them? Okay. You know what? Let's not get into this. Let's not try to break this down. Let's move on to our next story. There was a blogger in France who just wrote, not that nasty of a restaurant review even. He just kind of said it wasn't that good. The problem being that his blog post ranked extremely high on Google, about as high as the website of the restaurant itself. Now, a lot of restaurants have just terrible SEO, so this isn't too surprising. But did the company try to do better to get its rankings up? No, it sued the blogger, and it looks like it won, didn't it, James?
It was a her, anyway, for a start. It's not that they were ranking badly or that she was ranking better, just that there's a lot of spaces on the first page, and you've got the restaurant's page number 1 and then her page number 2. And it's not like there's any kind of dirty manipulation here. She wasn't trying to extort money from them or get a free meal that was just denied or something. Like, she just posted a genuinely honest review on her blog, which was then ranked by Google right next to the actual restaurant site.
So between this and the right to be forgotten, it seems that Europeans just don't understand how the internet works.
Yeah, they don't get Google.
By North American point of view.
Her post title was it was like the place to avoid in Cap Ferret, Il Giardano. She was basically, it's pretty scathing, but still, like the fact that you have a lot of followers or rank well in Google really should not be the basis for finding you. If it was a libel, or if she was saying something untrue, like there was a rat in my sandwich, then that's fair enough. That's illegal. There's a law for that, right? Or if she's tried to blackmail them, that would be illegal. But for simply being popular and having an opinion, shit. What if we get popular? I know that's never going to happen. But what if we do, and then Microsoft starts suing MakeUseOf for bad-mouthing them for so long?
The judge decided the blog's title should be changed. Oh, pet peeve is when the media confuses a blog post with the word blog, okay? Media, get this through your head, add this to your style books. A blog is a website that has posts. An individual post is not a blog. Anyways, back to the BBC article here. The judge decided that the blog post's title should be changed, so the phrase "the place to avoid" was less prominent in the results. What? That's her opinion. I don't understand this. Really.
And they're just claiming that their business has been damaged.
Could you sue a newspaper for a negative review? Like, I don't understand how this is different. Yeah, your business has been damaged because someone doesn't think you did a very good job.
You just got to sue Google for ranking the page high, and then...
Oh my goodness. Don't give them ideas. They'll do it, and then...
Yeah, I don't think some little shitty restaurant is going to be in any position to go to court with Google.
Some guy who didn't want records of his real estate transactions went to court and managed to force Google to implement the right to be forgotten. So... Europe's crazy.
Restaurants don't have the right to be forgotten, of course. That's the problem. People do, restaurants don't. Otherwise, they would have just requested Google take it down, which they couldn't, so they sued her instead. Woo!
This is... Wow. Wow. Okay, France, have fun with that internet thing. We'll see how this... Que horrible. Oh, man. That was like French with a Spanish accent. I'm the worst. Sorry, French people.
Oh, that was bad.
Oh, yeah. I used to do a decent Quebecois accent. Not anymore. That's long gone. Anyways, if you're being trolled on the internet, it might not just be some jackass sitting behind a desk in his mom's basement. It might actually be the NSA. Wait, what? James, what the hell's going on?
It's really getting a little scary at this point. Yeah. I totally tolerate the idea that every bit of communication is being monitored. Yeah. I don't like it, but I tolerate the idea. But this thing reveals that they've actually been doing things like manipulating online polls. Okay. They can artificially increase traffic to a website, which sounds disturbingly like a DDoS attack, for which they've arrested lots of other people. Yeah. They can fake Facebook wall posts for entire countries. Like, what? What?
Now, Russia has this fake troll thing down to an art. Basically, anyone who criticizes Putin gets like hammered in comments, and typically the site goes down because of the sheer amount of the traffic. So it's not as though the NSA is the only one doing this, but as always, we expect a little better from the world's foremost democracy. And it's disheartening to see this. It really is. Like, yeah, that's, I think, what the NSA doesn't get is this is controversial because we expect better. Maybe you don't, James, but I do.
We criticize the Chinese for having such a terrible government that just puts out lies. And it's like, you know what? We're no better. We
should be. We could be.
Democracy.
But right now we're not, and it's because people don't care enough. It's the same reason Facebook can keep pulling the shit it does. Because people don't care enough to actually stop using the service. You know? And the NSA realizes this, Facebook realizes this. Like, if people aren't going to actually change their habits, if people aren't going to change their voting, right? Because right now the Republicans are blaming the Democrats are blaming the Republicans, and no one has any incentive to say anything about stopping this. They just don't. They just don't. I mean, the electoral system's just messed up because almost all the congressional districts, are safe, right? So individual congressmen don't have to do stuff to get real. Like you can trace this back so far, and it just causes a lot of disillusionment. I don't know how to fix it other than putting Spock in the White House in 2016. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. It's just like pure Vulcan logic, because I don't see what else can fix this. As long as
I would be down with that.
Yeah, Spock 2016. That's what I'm saying. Just someone who has no emotions whatsoever, doesn't care about the political process, doesn't care to get reelected. Just, you know what? I'm going to do shit that needs to be done for the next 4 years, and I'm not going to pay attention. Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure you have some really precise opinion on this one, Dave.
I think that the NSA is being creative, and I commend them for that.
Okay, there you go. You know, we've got this massive government agency with basically no oversight doing whatever it wants on the internet, and you're commending them for their creativity.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Let them do their thing.
Okay. We'll see how it works out. Maybe you'll be right. You know? I mean, we keep trying to be upset about these kinds of things, and they just become normal 2 months later. This would have been like...
If you wrote about which smartphone you prefer, and people voted for BlackBerry, I'm pretty sure that was GCHQ messing with the poll.
I'm pretty sure that was just someone on a BlackBerry forum.
Because there was no other explanation for that.
I'm pretty sure, like, just BlackBerry's Twitter account has like 5,000 followers that are all obsessive, and they all just voted. Like, I think that's what happened. Yeah. Hey, everyone, go vote! Like I love BlackBerry.
I would like to apply for a job as like professional NSA troll. That would be fun.
You think you'd be good at that?
I'm pretty good at trolling.
So I'm not finding the trolling stuff in the comments in the article here so much. What were they doing? Like, who were they trolling?
Well, not so much trolling as in comments, but the ability to fix online polls, to fake emails from people, to post photos, to increase...
I mean, to a certain extent, I'm shocked, because I always trust online polls to just be completely accurate. Like the ones at Fox News that always say, is Obama the worst president? And it's like 95%. I mean, that's what we turn to find accurate polling information. Or the one on MSNBC that's like, is Obama awesome? And then this is, like if you can't trust online polls, what can you trust? I mean, this just really, I'm sad. Maybe it's the NSA. Yeah, because it's otherwise trustworthy. That's not the problem, right? Anyways, moving from one formerly great institution from another, Microsoft is cutting 18,000 jobs. Now, that sounds really bad, and a lot of bloggers were quick to be like, see, Windows 8's a terrible disaster. But these are mostly jobs related to Nokia, which they bought a couple years ago. No one's making... No, people aren't really buying Nokia phones to the extent that was expected. And the company's probably been too big for a long time. But being Scandinavian, they tried to keep employing people because that's a good thing to do. We've got some American can-do attitude in here, and what they can do is cut everyone's jobs, basically.
They also are killing off the Xbox Entertainment division, too, though, where they're the thing where they're going to make all these original TV shows. So they're killing that off. In a couple of the shows, they're going to make it through the Halo show, 2 of the Halo shows, and that documentary where they went and dug up the Atari games and some other of the documentary series, that's going to make it. Okay. But most of all those original, they were going to try to be like Netflix. All that is going away. I mean, they were just announced that a couple months ago, too. It's not even like they were that far into that endeavor, but...
I mean, it's really not a core focus for Microsoft at this point. Yes, the Xbox is doing well, but they, monetization-wise, probably better focusing on relationships with companies like Hulu and Netflix than making their own content, making it exclusive to a platform. Platform-exclusive content, I don't see a big future in it. I mean, you're not going to buy an Xbox so you can watch a particular TV show, are you? Like, I just don't see a lot of people doing that.
Well, I mean, people sign up for Netflix to watch particular TV shows now.
Yeah, and Netflix can work on your Xbox or your PlayStation or your Nintendo Wii. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. Or you can watch it on your computer. So the question is whether having in the Xbox division someone making media content for streaming on the Xbox is worth it. It ties down to whether it's going to influence someone to buy an Xbox over a PlayStation. And apparently it's not, looking at sales.
At least they don't think it's gonna. They haven't put out any content yet, so it's hard to say.
I mean, they've been doing stuff like this for years. They had The Guild to an exclusive contract. I think if you watched it on YouTube, it was like a 2-month delay or something.
I don't even know what The Guild is.
it was one of the early hit
RPG online series.
It was an early example of a successful online series, and for a couple years you had to go on the Xbox to watch it if you wanted it first. You needed an Xbox Live account. So they've been doing this for a few years. I think they've got a good idea of how well it works.
Yeah.
So... yeah, not too surprising. But the Nokia jobs, that's a big deal. Now, do you think, James, they were just buying Nokia to acquire patents? Do they have any intention of building phones?
Well, I think the jobs they're cutting off are mainly for Android, aren't they? Like, Nokia was still making Android phones.
Nokia just started making Android phones.
I think a lot of it was, I heard that a lot of it was like redundant positions. Like people, you know, there was already a head of smartphone research or whatever at Microsoft, so you don't need whoever Nokia's head of smartphone research is, because why do you need to?
Nokia had been working for years to build a mobile operating system of their own. I don't know how many of those people were still around. There's probably a lot of stuff like that just had to go. I can't imagine there was 15,000 people just in redundant positions, though. I think they are ramping down production.
Yeah, definitely not.
Now,
Nokia
is an interesting...
to be more agile. They have to, because they're not the top of computing anymore.
Well, they're not the top of mobile computing. I think the majority of the world's
they're not the top of.
They're selling more computers, operating systems than Apple still. Like, you can't really distinguish.
Yeah, but they're not profiting from them.
Not to the extent they were. And they've switched Microsoft Office over to a subscription service. I have no idea what the uptake is there. But, you know, Google's attacking them on the Office software front. They've got Apple attacking them on the hardware front. Apple's basically said operating systems, those are free. Like, why would you pay for an operating system? Here you go. They have updates for the rest of your computer's life. Like that really undercuts them, so they're being attacked that way. But they're still selling a ton of laptops, just not as much as they used to, because people, if they have a slow laptop, will, like we said before, buy a tablet for doing their fast fun browsing and put up with their work being slow. Like people, so they're buying new laptops, new desktops less often, because the fun stuff that they want to be fast works well on the tablet. So,
also, the other thing I heard about this that sounds terrible is that not all 18,000 of these layoffs already happened. They're going to lay off 18,000 people over the course of the next 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So that means there's people who are working there who have no idea. They didn't say, like, hey, you're going to be laid off in 4 months.
That makes for a positive corporate atmosphere. Could you imagine if I just said, okay, make use of the staff? One of you is being laid off in the next month.
Yeah, exactly, except it's...
I'd be like, I know who it is, I know who it is, I know who it is.
Also, here's a link to the performance page. No, like, you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, so imagine going to work every day like, well, should I look for a new job? And then you go out and you find a new job, and then you're not one of the people getting laid off, and you got to go tell this new job, oh, sorry, I'm just kidding, I don't need you. Or,
you know what, given the circumstances, I'd take the new job, because I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in Microsoft's management at that point, but that's just me.
I forgot. Someone asked, can I talk about something, but I don't know what they want me to talk about.
I think this is just the start of a very slow decline, and we're going to see more of it.
I don't know. I wouldn't count Microsoft out completely yet. They've got a lot of cards they can play. And
but it's a very slow decline. They're not going to get into the hardware business and be successful there. Their Surface tablets suck. Their phones suck. We all know this.
I mean, the phones are good. I think they're just too late. I mean, I don't think that's because the phone sucks. It's just because there's plenty of phones out there.
The phones are mediocre. You'd have to be good or better to get into the market, right?
Well, so in the early 90s, there were three main platforms for computing, right? There's the two we talk about now. There's a Microsoft, which absolutely dominated because of its open kind of stance. I mean, they're not open in the sense of Linux, but you could install it on almost any computer, right? And then you've got two other companies, Apple, and you've got Amiga. Now, no one remembers Amiga unless they really liked a sensible soccer at this point, right? But and Amiga just had trouble outside of gaming getting a lot of these high-profile programs onto their platform because once someone made it for Microsoft and then maybe Apple, I mean, they'd only do Amiga if they really, really thought they needed that extra bit of market share, and I think that's where Windows Phone is at right now.
Why are you counting out the Acorn Archimedes here? I'm confused.
Okay, fine. There were other platforms. Those were kind of the top three.
That was like one of the most popular in the UK, way before Windows.
Oh, well, we didn't have that here. I'd never heard that term.
No, it was a British.
Heard of this?
Never heard of it.
The point is, once a platform doesn't have the developer ecosystem around it, it's pretty hard to catch up, even if the operating system is better. And a lot of people to this day maintain that Amiga was better than Mac or Windows. I can't vouch for that. I never used it in a production, only in emulators. But
I just don't see what Microsoft can do at this point to win people back, because you've got Linux coming along with the Steam OS for playing games, which is basically what people use Windows for, right? We've got... Like, what can they do at this point?
I mean, so we all heard about the innovator's dilemma, right? Where if you have a stable source of revenue, as Microsoft does with Windows, as Microsoft does with Office, the incentive to switch to the new monetization model, the way Google already has with Office, they give it away for free and like do advertising and charge some people a little bit. The incentive to switch to that model, like full tilt right now, non-existent, because they're making money hand over fist with Office still. Yes, they're not making as much money as they used to. They're still making a lot more money than you do, James. Like, a lot. Okay? So the incentive to just, okay, let's drop this old system completely and switch to something new, it's a really hard thing to do, right? Apple did it well. They basically made buying a MacBook irrelevant by putting out the iPad, some people argue. We'll see how that turns out, right? And you know, when they put out the iPhone, they made the iPod a completely useless piece of crap, right? Now, a lot of companies wouldn't do that. They'd be like, you can't put this on a phone. No one will buy iPods. Don't have the music on there, right? They're just like, whatever, we're going to make a better product that people buy. But a lot of companies struggle with doing that. A lot of companies struggle, like they don't want to put out a product that makes their old product obsolete, so they wait for someone else to do it. As Microsoft gets more desperate, they might be more willing to do that. We'll see. I wouldn't count them out.
I think they should get into VR gaming. That's the future.
Of course. That's the answer to everything. Yeah, clearly.
Yep.
I mean, Dave, that's just going to solve Microsoft's problem. Could you imagine an Oculus version of Microsoft Word? If they do that, I demand they bring back Clippy, because I want Clippy advising me as to how to best use Oculus VR in glorious HD. Like, yeah. I want Clippy to look like he's in front of the document I'm writing, right there, distracting me from my work.
Hitting
That's
you
gonna be
with
amazing.
things, like reaching out and smacking you in the face with his clip penis.
Yeah. When you make grammatical errors in your writing, it's just like, smack! Looks like it's coming up. Don't do that! Yeah.
Can't wait for the force feedback on that.
I'm calling this, okay? Microsoft is officially doomed when they bring back Clippy in a non-ironic fashion. Like, if they do that, that's like the first sign of the Microsoft apocalypse. Yeah.
Okay, you called it with that.
Called this, yeah.
Does it have to be specifically Clippy, or could it be another fun, cute character?
Now, maybe if they bring back the dog from Microsoft Bob, too. But I'm mostly thinking of Clippy. Oh, you know what, though? I was thinking about this the other day. This kind of contradicts what I just said. But they made Cortana on Windows Phone the primary like assistant alternative to Siri, right?
Mm.
And Cortana was it from Halo?
Halo, yeah.
You, Dave? Okay.
Yep.
They should make Clippy an option. I'm just saying, like, Clippy should be the virtual assistant on the phone.
Or even better, what if you could have Clippy in Halo?
They should do both. They should make Clippy an option on the phone, but also like make Clippy an option In Halo, yeah, I think that would be even better. It looks like you're trying to get behind enemy lines. Would you like me to help?
It looks like you're trying to reload. Would you like me to slow that process down for you so you can be shot by the other team?
Oh man, we're only two stories through, and we've got like 20. Oh my god.
Yeah. You don't have to do all of them, but let's move right along. I mean, to be fair, we've only been recording for 35 minutes. We got 25 minutes of a podcast.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah. So let's move right along here, though. Verizon blamed Netflix. I've done that like 5 times. Netflix for poor speeds in a blog post. You can read this. But Level 3, which is a higher level ISP, they're the kind of ISP, for example, Netflix uses to connect to the other ISPs, took the opportunity in a brilliantly written blog post to point out that Verizon's basically full of crap. And this is high-level trolling. Level 3 said, hey, we found the exact place in your network where you need to install a $1,000 Ethernet card to make Netflix faster in these areas. And you know what? We're feeling generous. We'll do it for you, Verizon. We'll do it. So yeah, I haven't seen Verizon's response to this.
Hang on, in fairness, it's not just installing a $1,000 Ethernet card, it's then leasing the bandwidth from them, isn't it? Like you don't.
I mean, that would be part of it. But here's the thing, okay? ISPs are pretending like Netflix owes Verizon something because customers want to use their service. But if I'm a Verizon customer, I'm paying for a given internet speed because I want the services I pay for to work at that speed. So for Verizon to say, oh, Netflix needs to pay us or we can't make it faster, when they could just upgrade the infrastructure themselves and give customers the thing they're paying for, especially when you consider that Americans pay way more for slower internet than anyone else on the face of the earth, like, them blaming Netflix is kind of rich. Like, sure, I guess you could make that argument, but that's not how the internet's worked historically. And
I don't think I could blame either of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just that they don't have the bandwidth between the two, and if they wanted to, they would have to pay more for it, which they can obviously afford, but...
I mean, they could afford to do it. They're making massive profits, and here's the thing. Like, these American ISPs make way more money per customer than their European equivalent, and they're whining as though they're in danger of going out of business, and they're upending the political process to just get themselves a little bit more money. We need to stop putting up with it, but it circles back to the problem before. The political process is kind of broken. And, yeah.
But is it really up to me to be able to demand what bandwidth my ISP pays for? I mean, say I wanted to download movies from mega.co.nz or whatever it is, and they happen to only have a very small bandwidth connection to the provider that works with that site. Is it my right to demand that they build more pipes for me to be able to do that because that's what I want?
That is exactly the essence of net neutrality. That's what net neutrality is. It's the idea that the ISP shouldn't discriminate one site over another, shouldn't prioritize one site over another, because the internet is the internet.
If they build more routes, they are prioritizing. They're prioritizing Netflix traffic.
Well, because
that's the point.
To meet consumer demand. And the people who are paying them for an internet connection want that traffic to run at the speed they expect to pay for. For Netflix to run at 4 megabytes per second when you're paying for an 8 megabytes per second connection is unacceptable, and not Netflix's problem. It's your ISP's problem. They're the one who delivered that kind of access to the internet, not the internet minus the sites that we haven't prioritized yet. That's the essence here. Like, if at some point in the future they want to put out separate packages and not call it internet, but call it like Verizon Net, and they only give you access to sites they want to, I guess that's fine. Just don't call it internet, maybe.
But it's difficult to start making these demands. I mean,
This is how the internet's run for 20 years. This isn't new. This isn't us all of a sudden being like, oh man, I wish this was working the way it went. Like,
it's not like they've taken cables away that connect these two routes. They just haven't built more. And
in some cases they have, though, and if you connect to Netflix with a VPN on Verizon, it runs as fast as you'd expect.
Okay, see, that's a bit dodgy. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this diagram and the explanation from level 3. I'm not so sure about this. Okay. It would be nice if there was something that you could refer to that said, maybe if Netflix published, look, we've got these connections to these people and this provider does the best. if they could publish something like that, that would be great. And they could say, if you're on Verizon, sorry, our service is going to suck.
Yeah, I mean, and they do that to a certain extent, and YouTube has gotten in on the act too. They've got a site, if it's slow, you can click through, and it'll show you whose fault it is down to minute detail. And, Verizon's not happy about that either. None of these ISPs are. But, I mean, this is the problem. Like, saying we're just making irrational demands is crazy, considering how much profit these companies make. And they're the ones who are advertising their speeds. If they want everything to be slow, they should just say we're selling 1 megabyte per second for $50 a month, and you can just suck it up, whatever. They're not doing that. They want to look good while not doing good. And yeah, Netflix isn't going away.
This only really works when you talk about Netflix, because if you start extending down the chain and you say, well, okay, now I want a better connection to Amazon. Now I want a better connection for my torrents. But that's a stupid example anyway. But
This is what net neutrality, which is one of the founding things of the internet, says. Like, the ISP is just connecting you to the broader internet, and it's their job to give you the same speed to everything. That's their job. And if something's not working, they should have to fix it. Now they're saying we don't want to, which I get why they're saying that. Of course they'd want to make money by having Netflix pay them, but that's not how the internet was originally set up. Yeah. And someone in the chat room is calling this socialist babble. I'm sorry, this is the technical specifications of the internet as it was designed. If we want to change it to a...
it was never designed to be used this much.
You're right. and maybe like the whole net neutrality thing only applies if we're just sending text messages to each other. I don't know. Maybe I'm totally wrong. But
I think it's fair to say that if you want a better connection between two sites, then the cost has to be spread between the two.
Well, so here's my point here, and what I would point to is if we lived in a country in America where there was choice for ISPs, maybe you don't need to enforce net neutrality, right? I mean, maybe instead of enforcing net neutrality, you tell Comcast, hey, you can charge whatever you want and do whatever you want, but you also have to let other companies use your cable lines to sell product. This is what happened with the phone lines in the 1900s. Maybe we need to do something like that again. Because, or maybe we need Google to just set up a fiber in every country, every city in the country, and have like a legitimate competitor in the marketplace. Not be afraid of Google controlling my internet access and everything else about my life, but whatever. Maybe they'd be the ones to enter this and fix it. But there's just a lack of choice combined with these companies now trying to exploit their relationships.
I think part of the problem is just the structure of the internet, in that you don't have a connection between Verizon to Netflix. That's not how it works. It goes through a middleware, a service provider. Like ISPs have ISPs.
Yes, and Level 3 is one of those ISPs.
Right. So, and then where the costs come to operate those is where the difficulty lies, and what Verizon's argument is based on, as in who should be paying for that.
Yeah. Oh, but Level 3 is saying Netflix has paid for plenty of bandwidth on their side of the equation, but we're seeing that you're not paying enough on your side of our company, and that's where the difficulty is here. So should it really be Netflix's job to pay more on Level 3's side, which they've already done, and then pay more on Verizon's side as well, because Verizon doesn't want to give its customers the service they signed up for? Now, I don't think this is socialism. This is just a basic... Go ahead.
Does Level 3 only apply to Netflix? I'm sure they provide backbones to many other...
there are other companies like this, but it's Netflix that's coming up.
But if you're going... It's not just Netflix that is affected then, right? There must be other sites, other servers that are suffering because so much traffic is going through Level 3 to Netflix.
Now, Dom Davis in the chat is saying the NSA should lay fiber for everyone and cut out the middleman completely.
I agree.
Maybe. Yeah.
How do you know they haven't already?
As everybody knows, I am a big fan of the NSA and the work that they do. So I'm
sure they have. Speaking more about Verizon, they've argued that killing net neutrality would be great for the deaf. Those who can't hear.
What?
What? How does that work? Well, because companies that offer services in Braille could pay to make it faster, and it would just be great for the deaf. This is a nonsense argument, and I shouldn't be talking about it because I don't think our audio podcast is that popular among deaf listeners. But whatever. Deaf advocacy groups put out a statement saying, Verizon, this is whack. What are you doing? Like, what? How does this even make sense? No, we don't want net neutrality to die so that we can get Braille. Like, things are working for us. Not Braille. I'm an idiot. Braille? Yeah. Braille's for the blind. Yeah. It's a good thing. Yeah.
So we're releasing Technophilia in Braille this week too, right? Is that the plan?
It's an audio podcast. I think the blind are doing just fine in terms of listening.
Yeah, but they won't get to see my pretty video editing.
We could make a Braille version of your face.
That sounds hot.
I think there's such a thing as a Braille monitor, isn't there?
Yeah.
Or at least a Braille display device.
Visual thing.
Obviously not a monitor, right? Because that's a...
How would that work? It would like bubble out pieces?
Yeah, basically.
Kashi says in the chat room, now he's in India, that he has a 4 megabyte per second connection and pays $10 USD a month for it. What?
And it's 6 gigabyte data cap? That's ridiculous.
That's the bad part, the data cap.
But that is
half a morning's worth of traffic.
Only $10. That's cheap.
Yeah. That's...
Cap is low,
you get
but...
unlimited data at night, so that's kind of makes
sense.
Oh, and that's why he can watch this.
8 a.m. though, that's not even night. That is like the middle of the night.
No, but you can set your torrent client to only download between certain hours. So anyway.
Well, that's true.
James figured out what's important here. Anyway.
That stuff, that is a good idea. You could set stuff to download overnight.
Talking about Verizon this long, I need to shower now. But let's talk about makeup. Let's talk about a YouTube makeup artist who was sued for millions for using songs in her content. Now, this is a conversation we've had before in regards to video games. I would say it applies even more to music. I mean, if you're making music at this point, for some reason, people aren't buying CDs anymore. Unrelated, the top record, I think, right now in the Billboard charts is Weird Al, and I don't know if that speaks to the power of like viral video to sell stuff, or if it speaks to the utter death of the music industry, but I know it's one of the two. Anyways, it's really hard to make money making music right now. What's up?
Streaming plays now make a part of the UK charts. I'm not sure about the US ones.
I think they do. I think they do, and that would definitely help.
1 in 10 or 1 in 4 or something.
But also a lot of people are buying Weird Al's record because he put out every viral video for 10 days. I'm really kind of sad now that the videos have stopped. Anyways, point being, getting your song into a TV show, into a movie, is basically the best way to make money making music at this point. Like, that's where the big money comes in. So this is clearly going to become a battle for web content, and there's a YouTube star. What's her name, James?
Miss Fan.
Miss Fan does makeup tutorials. Now, I've never really watched makeup tutorials myself, but I know they make up a pretty big subsection of YouTube. Like, it's pretty huge. I mean, it's something that lends itself well to video, right? I don't know. I don't wear makeup myself, though I do think maybe for the show I should start covering up my red nose. So maybe I need to watch some of these videos. Point being, Ultra Records, which has musicians like deadmau5 and Calvin Harris on its books, is suing this makeup artist tutorial for using these songs without permission in the content. Now, she gets millions of views, which is, more than some TV shows get. So it's not like this is some silly, trivial thing.
She apparently makes millions of dollars as well.
She makes millions of dollars doing this?
At least hundreds of thousands. Like, she's done well out of it. No one's saying she hasn't.
I don't know about millions, because I think the only person on YouTube that makes millions is PewDiePie.
Is he really making millions?
Yeah, according to a thing, he made $4 million last year.
Holy crap.
But he also has like 7 or 8 times more subscribers than this person.
Okay. So yeah, but she's making a good amount of money, and she's using this intellectual property without permission. Now, if she were just a tiny channel like Technophilia, like no one's going to go after us at this point, right?
Yeah, but she was dumb anyway. I mean, when we started Make Use of's YouTube channel, I immediately went out and worked with DJ Cutman to secure us music that we had permission to use. And we're a small. And that was the first time I ever started a YouTube channel. But I knew well enough to know that you can't just use people's music.
Now, of course, you point out, James.
These are part of the new generations. They don't know that.
Yeah, you point out, James, that the labels could have made money off this if they wanted to, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is a system. There's Content ID, and YouTube. If you can work with YouTube, you can have your songs identified, and most companies do, which is something that YouTube created in order to foster the kind of environment where online videos can actually be created, and yet still reward the copyright holders for music, right? But instead, they've They've kind of intentionally waited until the star has made a good bit of money, and then they've pounced in there to get their pound of flesh. Like, she's certainly successful, and they deserve to get a cut of that. But if they'd have used the content ID system like everyone else, royalties probably wouldn't have been that high. So instead, they've gone like straight for the throat at £88,000. That's like what, $140,000 per song for about 50 songs.
Let me put this into some context here, though, okay? Because 30 Rock, which is a TV show that was hilarious, but not a lot of people watched it. It didn't get great ratings, but it was a really funny show. Anyways, they had this moment where Liz Lemon, the main character, is sitting on her couch eating cheese, and she sings about how she's working on her night cheese. Now, this is a reference to a song. It wasn't even a recording of the song. It was a reference to a song by Bob Seger, his Night Moves. It was just Night Cheese, and it was just her singing it. NBC had to pay $50,000 for that. $50,000. We're talking 3 seconds, okay?
Of something that isn't even the song.
It's not even, it's not even her. It's her singing like her own.
Under like fair use or something. I don't get it.
It didn't. So this is what we're talking about, though. Okay, this is what we're comparing about. Now, I don't know how 30 Rock's ratings would compare to one of these uses, and TV shows are another matter because syndication. Like, this show is going to be on TV for a long time yet. So maybe that's a good deal comparatively. But I'm just saying, like, if YouTube goes on to replace TV and viewing habits, which a lot of people have suggested it has, maybe that's not that much money in the long scheme of things.
Aren't you allowed to use a couple seconds of a song? Like,
yeah, under fair use.
I thought you were allowed like a little blip. Like, I know, like,
You can, but it's a calculation that a company like NBC needs to make, whether it's worth fighting them in court or whether you just pay the extortionist rate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it would cost more than that to take them to court.
It might be different because she was singing it and changing it, whereas not just like using a brief little snippet.
Right, but this
of it.
YouTube star was just using it as the background music.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. She was.
Video.
Star was just straight.
She was just dumb. I mean,
it's odd.
Simple as that. She was
dumb. The
dumb.
artist whose music she uses then came out on Twitter and said, "Hey, I really love your stuff, and I wish this wasn't happening, but there's nothing I can do. It's out of my hands."
Yeah, the artist has no control over that. That's all label stuff.
Which is a shame.
So, I don't know, it's complicated, right? And we've talked about game streaming before. I mean, YouTube doesn't have anything in place where a game is automatically recognized and the publishers get paid, does it?
Yeah, they do.
They implemented that for Nintendo, didn't they? But, I mean,
that's been around forever. That's just that they don't, very, very rarely do they use it.
Well, because the gaming companies don't want to say, hey, this is okay, you don't need to pay us any more than 10% of your ad revenue. Like, they don't want to say that up front.
Most of the time, the game companies just are happy that you're promoting their games, so they don't care.
Yeah, music's a little different. I mean, this is the weird thing about music and television, though, because often if a song is featured in a given TV show, it helps the ratings a lot, right? Like,
I don't know. Who does it help more, though? Does it help the art? I feel like it helps the artist more.
The artist gets a boost. This is what I'm saying, sorry.
Right, yeah, because, I mean, nobody watches a TV show because they want to hear the latest song from, Skrillex or whatever.
But sometimes people will check out a song that they heard.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that was catchy. I want to hear that. It got stuck in my head.
There are plenty of songs that have been out for 2 years and never got much play and then are featured in a TV show and become mega hits, right? And there are plenty of songs that become huge hits, like Happy, because it was featured without permission in a whole bunch of viral videos.
Oh my God, I hate that song.
Yeah. Just whenever I want to get that song in my head, I let the Weird Al version play instead.
Tacky. Yeah, that was brilliant.
It's tacky. It's much better.
Weird Al, can't you put out a video every day for the rest of my life?
I did not like. I missed the last couple, but I was not a fan of the marching band one.
That one was brilliant.
I didn't like it at all.
I did watch that one. That was alright.
It wasn't an actual parody of like a real song.
Weird Al always has
a parody of American culture, though, wasn't it?
It was a parody of American sports culture, particularly college fight songs. No, brilliant, I thought. And Weird Al has always had a couple songs on every album. Well, I'd say almost half that aren't parodies. He just some of my favorite songs of his, like Albuquerque, totally original.
Well, do you ever want to listen to a Weird Al song again? No, I just find once I've heard it, that's it. I don't want to. I mean, that was funny.
I've listened to the song Albuquerque quite a few times.
Albuquerque
is like a 15-minute song.
Albuquerque is one of the best things he's ever. Genius in France too, which isn't a parody of specific.
I also like Trapped at the Drive-Thru. That's another really long one. That's pretty funny. I don't know if you've heard that one, Justin.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I've heard that one.
We're approaching the drive-thru. We're in line at the drive-thru. Did I mention the drive-thru? So I just got this weird thing that popped up on my Facebook, right? I had the page open and I clicked on the update status box.
Yeah.
And then a box popped up and said, "Hey Dave, we're sorry to interrupt, but you haven't changed who can see your posts lately, so we just want to make sure you're sharing your posts with the right audience." Has anyone ever heard of that before?
Wait, was this on Technophilia's page or what?
No, on my personal Facebook. It's like, because I have my post set to public, and it's like, hey, do you still want to share your post with public, or do you want to change that?
Interesting. No, I haven't gotten that.
I've never seen that before. I wonder if that's only if your posts are public. It's like, hey, you may not want this anymore. I do want them.
Good for them, because I think most people don't realize it's public. I have most of the like, if I post a link to an article I wrote, I make that public, because if anyone follows me, I want them to get my promotional crap, basically. And sometimes if I put something on Twitter, I'll put it on Facebook public. But for the most part, I don't want all that stuff going out there. And I've got specific people who I'm friends with that I can't disconnect, that I don't want seeing my stuff because they respond to it and it's annoying. So I've got like the restricted list set up, right?
I just let everything be public. I don't really care.
You know who you are, Dave. Anyways. No, so maybe that's a good step from them, actually saying, hey, your stuff's public. Stop it. Stop it now.
Stop it, but I left it on public, so screw you, Facebook.
Anyways, I don't know. I think record labels, seeing as it's so much harder to make money making music now than it was 15 years ago, they're going to keep trying stuff like this, and I don't know if it's completely delegitimate. Because if YouTube stars can start saying, well, you know what, we're going to let you monetize it, can TV stations arguably do the same thing? I know this kind of argument doesn't hold water, but as the lines between television and services like YouTube blur, you're not going to want to set a precedent where anyone can use your music whenever they want. Yeah, like, I don't know. They could have turned it on and monetized it, but they're not going to get $80,000 from it. That's kind of my conclusion there. Yeah, yeah. Moving right along, our coworker made a very good future tech article. And we've been doing these more and more and make use of. Andre Infante is his name. He did how we'll get to a world filled with driverless cars. Now, we've covered a lot of this before, so I'm not going to rehash it here on the show. But, man, some of the comments, people are mad. People really like driving and want to keep driving.
Oh, I haven't got into the comments yet. This was a really good article. It's very technical.
No, it's really good. And
I haven't realized some of the problems.
I hope Andre keeps doing this once a week, because he's been doing a great job. He did another one about, I think it was Andre, about virtual reality. And it was like really well outlined. I think even you would agree he got to most of the key points. But one person basically said that, I don't know, if you outlaw driving, it's going to be prohibition all over again. Now, I'm not saying we should outlaw driving next week, but it's pretty clear if we did have self-driving cars, we would save tens of thousands of lives. Like, this is more than murder and drug use combined in America, car crashes. And it's completely preventable. It's completely preventable.
I don't see a parallel there between driving and prohibition.
So, this is Dragonmouth, who's one of our better comments. I love him, but he kind of went off the deep end there. So he's like, if you outlaw driving, you're going to have unintended consequences, just like we did with prohibition. And prohibition's a famous example of passing a law that you think's going to make people drink less, but people kept drinking, and it empowered criminal gangs to sell the drinks to them instead of games like Budweiser.
People can drink in the privacy of their own home. You can't drive in the privacy of your own home. It's a hell of a lot easier to get caught.
This is the thing. And he's saying, like, if you're a good driver, you won't get hurt. And you know what? That's nonsense. Good drivers die in car crashes all the time because they lapse for a second, or because they... But you know the real reason
driverless cars... Or because of other people. It's not even. It doesn't matter how good of a driver you are. If I'm going on the entrance ramp of the highway and some dude decides to go 70 the wrong way and drives at me head on, I could be the best driver in the world. The chances of me avoiding that, very, very slim.
Doesn't matter, right? So if we had driverless cars, everyone could keep doing this. But the real reason, so it's weird because we've gotten much better at making cars safe in terms of design. So you'd think that deaths would go down, but this is being kept about even. because so many people are driving while texting on their phone and stuff. So like we're making the cars safer, but people insisting on using their smartphone while they drive like counters this almost perfectly. So through most of the history of the car, we've kept having fewer and fewer deaths every year. That's gone now. But I think this is the real reason the driverless car is going to catch on, is people want to use their phone while they're driving.
These comments are so stupid.
Some of them are. Some of them.
I mean, someone somewhere will be in control of the robots, programs, and vehicles if we are not. No, that's rubbish. Have you ever heard of this thing called artificial intelligence? It's a thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be someone else in charge of it. It would be computers. So I'm just not. I'm not getting...
Until the NSA hacks your car, and then you're standing there like, I'm driving along, but the NSA wants me to go to McDonald's because that's the latest marketing campaign that the government is partnered with. And next thing I know, I'm eating a double cheeseburger, and I'm like, this double cheeseburger is not what I wanted, but somehow I have it, and now I'm eating it, and now I gained 20 pounds because I don't have to walk anywhere because I have a driverless car. What am I going to do? I don't know.
This is how America dies. I wanted Pizza Hut, you bastards.
Wait a see, that is a good call. I actually did want Pizza Hut. What the hell?
Yeah, Google.
I'm so pissed right now.
Fascism.
I could have had a stuffed crust.
I don't know. I think
I got burgers.
We talked a couple weeks ago about how young people, and I guess that includes us still. I don't know if it includes you, James, but it includes Dave and I. Don't care about cars. We just don't. And I think that's the generational divide here. The people who are commenting, I'm assuming, really like cars. They enjoy driving them. They enjoy talking about them. And you know what? 100 years ago, people really liked riding horses, and they were allowed to do it on the street.
Hey, people still like riding horses.
Yeah, but they do it at friggin' racetracks or out in the country somewhere. If you want to keep driving, you can do it. It's going to be a weird hobby you have that we make fun of you for. I'm sorry, that's
Actually, we should just restrict people who want to drive to like a race course or private track somewhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Allowed to drive
but that's expensive.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Well, you know what?
Well, that's what you get for having an expensive hobby. You know?
It's an expensive hobby.
That's true. I guess it's like any hobby that all hobbies cost money.
We don't let horse and buggies go on the interstate. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe you don't.
Maybe in Connecticut it's different. I'm not sure how you guys roll out there. In Colorado we don't. The interstate's right. I can see it out my giant window here.
Somebody commenting said, driving is tedious? No, commuting is sometimes tedious. Get a sports car, dude. All right, bro.
That way I can sit in traffic in my car that has the potential to go really fast, but still can't because there's cars all around me.
And you know, I think this comes back to the Douglas Adams quote we talked about before. Some people just see this technology that's new as being horrible and alien, and to us we're just like, dude, yes, hate driving, love to see this take off. So, I don't know. What do you think, technophiliacs? Let's get a conversation going. Talk to us on Facebook about whether you're dreading the driverless car and the day that driving becomes illegal. Because you know what? I think driving is going to become illegal. I mean, we're talking about saving more lives than murder. Like, murder gets the big headlines on the news constantly, and air crashes, but more people drive in cars than almost anything else. Like, it's the biggest killer, but it's just considered
when a plane
normal.
crash happens, it's a mass event.
Do not mention plane crashes, for God's sake.
James has a... I'm sorry, I shouldn't have brought your fear up. But, you know...
All right.
You know, more people... I'm just saying, every time you get into a car, you're more likely to die than every individual time you get on a plane. I know that logic's not going to help you, James, but maybe you should be more afraid of your car.
I think those stats have changed this year, because I'm pretty sure there was another crash today. Go look it up. So
no,
it's
but
not one
there are so many car crashes. You know how many flights happened today that didn't crash?
But you know how many that do? More
Thousands.
than zero.
More than zero. Okay. But car crashes is much, much further from zero than the plane crashes. That's my point.
Maybe in America, I don't crash.
No, they happen everywhere. They happen everywhere because people are driving constantly. I'm pretty sure it's worse.
English roads are so small, you can't really drive that fast without hitting something soon, which means people don't really drive that fast.
You hit something, you crash, you burn.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure you have freeways, or they're called their motorways, and I think accidents do happen on them. I don't have the stats. Anyways, moving right along, let us know what you think. I think this is... I couldn't believe these comments, and I wanted to discuss it a little bit here. I tried to respond by saying, like, there's more murder. anyway, murder's down, drug use is down, death in war is at the all-time lowest lately. We've been making life better in a lot of ways. Car crashes are persistent. If we can get rid of it with driverless cars, I think let's do this. I hate driving anyways. If I could fall asleep and then wake up across the country because my car took me, awesome. All for it. Yeah.
All right, before I move on, I have to go pee really bad. So you guys...
Thanks for announcing that, jackass.
Well, I know you have the video minimized, and you're not going to see me get up and walk away, and then you're going to be like, Dave, let's tell me about the gaming news, and I'm like,
Fair enough. Well, let's move on.
News.
No, we give EA crap a lot because they seem to not care about what gamers think. But it seems like gamers, on average, don't care about what gamers think because their earnings are up 51% this year in spite of everything.
Well, the problem is that they're such a huge company that they're mainly... This profit surge has mainly come from things like Titanfall and FIFA 2014, and I bought Titanfall, so I can't complain. But and
everyone's going to buy FIFA.
I mean, we're mainly complaining about the in-app purchases and the pay-to-win stuff and the horrible DRM, I'm guessing. But none of that's going to change if they've made 51% jump in profits. So don't expect that to change.
No, I wouldn't expect it to change anytime soon. Again, because everyone says, "Oh, EA's crap, and we need to do something about it," and then Titanfall comes out, and everyone just forgets that they're mad at EA. You know, so if you want a company to change its policies, you have to legitimately threaten to boycott it. Same with and EA knows that you're full of crap. EA knows that what you're saying on the comment section of these blogs isn't going to change your actual buying habits. They know it.
So now that they've made so much money, they're apparently giving away the Ultimate Collection for The Sims 2 free.
Really?
I don't want it.
Yeah. Wait, Sims 2, aren't they on like 4 by now?
4 is coming out soon. Sims 2 is I don't know who the hell is playing Sims 2. When I first saw this, I got excited because I actually owned Sims 3, and I was like, oh, sweet, all the stuff for Sims 3. And then I was like, oh, no, wait a second. Who the hell plays Sims 2? But hey, it's free stuff, so, you know, if you still play the Sims 2...
have Sims 2, though, right? You don't just get everything. It's not just free.
No. Like,
I don't know, you know... It's having the disc. Having the disc of The Sims 2 isn't enough. You need to own it on Origin, which is EA's answer to Steam.
Yeah, but I think if you own the disc, you could just register your disc copy on Origin. And it
oh, can you?
I believe that's how Origin works now, because it shows that I have Battlefield 2, and I never bought Battlefield 2 on Origin. I've only had a disc of Battlefield 2, so...
So maybe that's how it works. Otherwise, this affects like the 3 people who bought The Sims 2 instead of The Sims 3 on Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know when I got The Sims 3. I think that was in like a Humble Bundle or something.
Yeah, The Sims 2 is 10 years ago. So The Sims 3, it's got to be like 5. It's been a while.
It's been a while. You ever watch Rob play The Sims 3 on his stream?
Yeah, our friend Robert Wiesahan, Bandana Rob on Twitch, he's apparently a very good Sims. People like watching him play The Sims. I haven't watched it myself.
I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah. No, he's just a good presence anywhere. He's
giving up on Dota, though. I'm a little upset.
Well, you know, there's so many games to play. You can't just play one all the time, James.
He said it was more that his audience was not into it. They're into him playing like strategy games in The Sim, not like a competitive game. So
that makes sense because he's a friendly guy that you want to see him succeed.
But he never plays Dota either, like just on his own time. He never goes on. I invite him to games and he never plays. I guess he just didn't grab him. You got to spend a lot of time to get into the Dotas.
There's a lot out there to do. Anyways, speaking of, I guess Dota's not an MMO, but it's kind of similar, isn't it? But anyways, MMOs aren't dead. They still make quite a bit of money, apparently. Dave?
Yeah, so they put out this study that shows how much money the top MMOs are making.
Yeah.
And apparently there's still quite a few of them making a lot of money. As you might expect, World of Warcraft is the #1 with $1 billion in annual revenue. And
how many people are playing that game still? How many subscribers?
I don't think it shows based on. It's just. I don't think it's number of players. No, it's only. This is only money made. I think the last I heard there was 9 million active subscribers, but I don't know.
Okay. So let's. Okay. HBO.
HBO.
So how much is a World of Warcraft subscription? I'm just trying to do some
$15 a month.
$15 a month. HBO's 10, okay, and I think World of Warcraft has more subscribers than HBO. So of course they're making money hand over fist. They're not even
Yeah, they're not just making money on subscriptions. There are some like small microtransactions in WoW. Like you can just buy a mount. Like instead of using gold, you can buy it with money, like special mounts and stuff like that. So. And then moving down, you have Lineage 1, the original Lineage, which is like super old, is still $253 million a year.
Yeah.
Terra Online, 236, and Star Wars: The Old Republic from EA at 165 million.
Wow.
So in Terra and Star Wars are free to play, so those are all that revenue is from microtransactions and
Here's
stuff.
the thing with MMOs, though. There's a huge upfront cost to developing this, and you need to create a world that's balanced. And then you basically have a couple months to convince gamers that this is a viable game, that it's going to keep being fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, you've just lost all that money. It's not like you put out Grand Theft Auto and you just sell the games up front and then you're done, right? Like this is a huge upfront investment. So some people pay off, and with Warcraft, they managed to leverage a brand they had and enter a vacuum in the market in a huge way. And they've been profiting over it 10 years. Here's how old World of Warcraft is. Dumb Davis in the chat room says, "I've a wowaholic. I've been clean for 6 years." He was addicted to this game, and he stopped 6 years ago. That's how old this freaking game is. It's like, what, 10 years old now?
Something like that.
That's incredible. They're still making money off it. Now, they're still putting money into it, right? They're making it better. They're putting out new releases.
Yeah, but when those new releases come out, that revenue ticks up quite a bit because they sell that for like $30 or $40 or whatever.
And there's probably an uptick in subscribers too, because people
I know I usually come back when there's an expansion and play through that content. I don't get into the high level rating or anything, but I'll go buy the expansion. Usually comes with a month of play. I'll play it, get to a level cap, and then stop.
Okay, so we've got a Marcus Erickson in the chat room, who has asked several times now, I think, can you talk about Dwarf Fortress?
I don't know what that is. It's some.
Okay,
I'm watching a video of it. It looks like Civilization done in ASCII.
Yeah, it's like an ASCII game. It's apparently super complex.
2006 city building roguelike game.
Yeah.
Why would anyone play this?
Because it's apparently one of the deepest gaming experiences out on the market even today.
Do I get to build farms?
It's incredibly complex. I don't even understand it.
Two dudes made it.
Yeah. But like there's supposed to just be incredible consequence to anything you do, and it's just That's all I know about it. I've never played it. I've read it as an example of how a small team can make a very deep game, but it takes obsessive work.
Couldn't they just make some better graphics? What's wrong with them?
Who
cares? Probably didn't have an artist on staff. They probably had just programmers. So
that's part of the point. This game.
Oh look, it's got subterranean farming. I don't want nothing to do with this. Maybe I'll have a little try of it. No.
I think it's one of those games that you're only gonna really like once you get deep into it for a while, though. Anyways.
Hey, we had other news. There was a Kickstarter thing.
Oh yeah. Where was that?
Game raises $500,000.
Oh yes.
But never materializes.
So there is a popular, series of kind of podcasters. They play Let's Play videos. They are called.
It used to be Minecraft people. That was their main thing.
They do a lot of things. It's called Yogscast. In 2012, they launched a Kickstarter. Now, it wasn't they used their brand. I guess it was these developer friends they had that launched the Kickstarter. But they used the brand of Yogscast to say, we're going to make a game starring the people who have been doing these streams, more or less. And yeah, it's going to be the game you've always wanted. And they raised $500,000. Now, $500,000 sounds like a lot of money. And at the time for a Kickstarter, it was obscene. But have you ever tried developing a game on a budget of $500,000? You're going to use it up pretty quickly. And they did. And there's no game to go out, and it's just been a minor catastrophe. But some fans are happy with it. There was this huge expose on Kotaku about how this is all just a disaster, but a lot of people went to the comments to say, hey, I'm happy. They gave everyone who contributed to it a free game, a completely unrelated game, and they said, we're still going to try to put this game out. But the company that initially did the Kickstarter is now bankrupt, and they're legally not obligated to do anything. And that's the thing about Kickstarter, is you're not saying you're going to deliver on this. You're just saying, hey, I'd like money to try to build this thing, and if it doesn't work, never mind.
Yeah, that's what people keep forgetting about
these people, really, though?
What?
Like, how stupid are the people that paid money for this? I mean, you're giving money to a bunch of YouTube Let's Players who invent an open world game with all the features of World of Warcraft and a procedural world generator, which is something most games have never really been able to achieve. And then those guys hired a team of indie developers who have never made a game before. I mean, wow.
Well, to be fair, Minecraft is that and was made by one dude.
Sure, but that doesn't mean anyone can do it. Just if they have $500,000.
But it is possible. It is possible.
I think it would be. I think a lot of people don't realize how often a video game company, will start a project and utterly fail to deliver on it. This happens all the time. It's part of why you need a really good game. Yeah, you don't hear about it.
One of them was paid $35,000 to do like graphics or something, and he left after like 4 days.
Yeah, because he got another job. He got another job.
Yeah, but you don't pay someone the whole completion bonus off the bat. Who does that?
Yeah, they should have hired them on. I mean, they paid. Yeah, why would you pay them up front?
See, I actually see far more of these utterly stupid Kickstarters than most people ever do, right? Because I subscribe to the full RSS feed that's curated by a site called kicktrack.com, since Kickstarter doesn't actually provide an RSS feed themselves, right? They keep that
Why would they?
Yeah. Well, so you can find things to back. Why would they?
Okay.
But each week I see like at least 3, please buy me a new computer so I can stream some games projects. And the one ballsy guy even asked for like $15,000 so he could build the greatest gaming machine ever, which apparently he needed for a university computer science course. Yeah, for real.
So, I mean, you can understand why people try this. Because, I don't know, just last week, I still have to figure out what to do with this. Someone emailed me and said, I'm trying to raise money.
Oh, the potato salad.
Well, the potato salad thing, he just asked for $10 and he's gotten, what, like $100,000 at this point? I don't even know. I lost track. But no, just last week. I mean, people think of crowdfunding now as just this magical thing. I just got an email last week, hey, we're trying to raise money for my friend so he can replace his roof. He can't afford to do it himself. But we don't have any social media skills. I've got 20 friends on Facebook and that's it. But we just need someone like you guys to just really make this thing explode and popular. And that's not how it works. That's not how it works, I wish there was something I could do. It seems like this guy legitimately needs the help. Now, he could just be a scam artist. I have no idea, and that's part of why Kickstarter makes me uncomfortable, right? But, I mean, these things work because you do something clever. These things work because something about your story reaches a critical mass of people organically and then takes off. And anyone who says otherwise, I think, kind of, you can't just make crowdfunding happen. It's not magic.
I think you just need to use some common sense. Like, I've backed over $2,000 worth of Kickstarters so far, none of which have ever been non-delivered, though. Like, you get delays with hardware, and I'm just about to spend another $700 on a VR platform thing that launched today.
I can't imagine how much money you're wasting on the thing.
Virtualizer. But none of them have ever been non-delivered, because I don't...
So Scudderman
in
the chat comes back to say, part of the reason the game didn't make it when they were relying on Yogsoft, to promote pre-orders in order to fund more development. Yogscast wasn't happy with the game that they saw, so they didn't want to put their name behind it any more than they had. So yeah. Marcus Erickson links to an article about Dwarf Fortress. Sorry, I thought it was relevant. But apparently the level generation has gotten so crazy complex, he said, coming back around to this, that they're using something like half of a modern quad-core computer's total CPU power. It will hold there until it begins to spool up the maximum allowable amount of RAM that the game's engine 32-bit software will allow, and it's just getting started. So this is why the graphics are simple, because the level generation is so incredibly crazy complex that they need to just focus on that. Sorry, didn't mean to get distracted there. I thought I'd bring it up, though. So yeah, it seems like, I mean, bad Kickstarters are going to happen, and you need to spot them up front. And you've done a lot of Kickstarters. How do you spot a bad Kickstarter?
Well, it's pretty easy. You look through the technical details. You look at whether they've actually got something working. Like, if it's just a 3D render, then you tend to think, no, that's not going to work. So that's
there's no working prototype. Ignore that shit. It's not worth your time. If they don't have a working prototype, that means anybody can start a Kickstarter and say, like, I have an idea. I would like to make this roll of tape bigger. I don't know how to do it, but I have this idea, so fund it, and then I'll figure it out later, but I would like to do it. And I think with your money, I can do it.
Wow. You want to see some kind of evidence. Like, there's a couple of lucid dreaming...
or you can base it on someone's reputation, right?
Well, that can help.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can... Well...
No, like,
how much reputation do you give to a bunch of YouTube Let's Players? Like, they're not...
Right. Well, no. I would have looked at the reputation of the people actually designing the game. If they had designed games that were good in the past, then yeah. I mean, this company had no reputation. Yeah, they hadn't made a game, so that's irrelevant. Yeah, but
like when Inafune was seeking funding for his Mega Man successor there, Mighty Number 9, like his reputation's pretty good. He's made a lot of Mega Man games, and he wants to make another game like Mega Man. He could probably deliver a Mega Man game.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's probably not going to be... So you can base it on reputation. But if the guy's reputation, or the girl's reputation, isn't just amazing, there better be a working prototype, like you said. Yeah. You can't just...
Like this thing you're thinking about back in, James, I assume they have a working prototype,
They do, and it looks pretty stunning, actually.
Yeah.
And when the Rift came out, they had a prototype of the Rift, right? When they put the Kickstarter out?
He did have a prototype, yes. I mean,
he didn't just say, like, I'm going to make virtual reality, I promise. It's going to be awesome. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
And they had a 3D...
Now, to be fair,
yeah,
the potato salad guy just admitted straight up, I have no idea how to make potato salad. I've never done it before. I'd like to learn. And people funded it.
His honesty then.
Yeah.
But that was dumb. That was $10. Who cares?
That was a troll Kickstart anyway. That's not a real Kickstarter.
And now everyone's trying to do it. I'm sure there's so much more crap post potato salad in that RSS feed than there was pre.
For shizzle dizzle.
Yeah. Anyways, be careful when you Kickstart. Use caution. Try to find someone who's either got a reputation for making things or has actually made the thing and just wants money to fund it. But even then, I don't know, if you can... Launching products is really hard, and a lot of people get a lot of funding and never actually launch something. And if you're doing Kickstarter, you're taking that risk on. That's just part of the process.
So looking at the feedback from the developers is also good, like the way they handle comments, the way they handle criticisms, because usually you can back like $1 on a project just to ask a question. And then if you get a sensible response to that, then go ahead or whatever. But a lot of the times you'll just get taken the piss out of by the developer or something, and then oh yeah.
Yep, and Scudderman rightly points out in the chat that over the last year or so, both THQ and Neversoft have closed their doors. Past success doesn't guarantee future viability. Yeah, fair enough. Like, you can't go entirely based on someone's reputation. And you know what? Sometimes, ironically, if a game gets too much funding, or any product gets too much funding, it can make it even harder to actually make the device, because now you need to basically hire someone to mail out all the frickin' rewards and to build, or you might become more ambitious with the project at hand and maybe get in too deep. So
even with software, though, you have to have a basic level of a prototype there. You can't just say, right, I'm going to make a game from scratch. I don't think that
people
works.
do, though. You know how many friggin' people just when the Doge meme was big said, I'm going to make a Doge Pac-Man clone? You know how many people did that and managed to make $10,000? Like, it's upsetting. It's upsetting.
Doge Man. That's what you could call it. Doge
there
Man.
You go. Done.
I'm a genius.
We just need to increase the general level of kickstarting savvy. So you know what? Don't let your friends kickstart something stupid. I mean, lean over their shoulders when they're on Kickstarter and say, hey, that's dumb. Don't fund that. You're stupid, and you should feel bad. Just, be a friend, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Bitch.
Moving right along, I asked fans to email me a rabbit last week. I don't even remember, but apparently I did. And one person stepped up. One person took the time to email me a photo of a rabbit And I thought I'd read his email here. His name's Brendan Pine, and he said he loves Technophilia. He listens all the time. He loves all the news, and above else, the bullshit. Wish James fun with his kid, and Dave fun with his games. I guess that's about equivalent in terms of your relationship to these things, eh, guys?
I like games way more than James likes his kid.
Yeah, probably. Last of all, I wish you, Justin, because the podcast is lost without you. Ha 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 ha. So, I don't know how accurate that is, guys. Because I also make use of once a day, if not more. Keep up the good work. Here is the rabbit. And I also wanted to know what are our thoughts on the Android L or Google I/O. And 1+1. Android L, this was a high-end phone, was it?
No, Android L is the new version of the operating system.
Wait, L's not a candy. So, I mean, did we talk about this in the past? I mean, it looks like a much cleaner version.
We tried to, but we couldn't because none of us really cared.
You know what? If I get Android L working on a device of mine, I'll talk about it then. I hate talking about Apple stuff too, but James just insists, so that's why that happens. But you know what? I should look into this some more and comment on it. And
a lot of Android L was very much like Apple stuff. It was the same like integration between Chrome OS and Android, with calls being routed and things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for writing that email and thanks for getting in touch. If you guys want to email rabbits to me some more, you know where to find my email address.
And I'm sorry we can't talk about Android more, but none of us have one.
I have an Android tablet. It's just not an up-to-the-minute one, right? So I'm thinking of wiping it and installing like a pure Android on it, and then maybe I can comment on Android a little more.
Oh, I have a pure Android. Yeah, I have a Nexus 7, but...
Well, update it. Then you can write about more stuff, and it'll be fun.
I don't know.
I just jailbroke my iPhone yesterday again for the first time in like 2 years.
Why? God's sake, why?
I don't know. I felt like it. Haven't done it in a while. 7.1.2 is jailbreakable, and I figure I'll jailbreak it, and then when 8 comes out, just install 8 and
what was the point? What can you now achieve that you couldn't before?
I don't know.
It's jailbroken.
The main thing is still, the only feature that I really still care about is quick reply to SMS, which is coming in finally in iOS 8.
Oh, okay.
Folders and folders.
If nothing else,
quick reply to SMS is the best thing ever. Literally, it is the most life-changing feature you'll ever have on a phone. Not having to close your app that you're in to quickly respond to somebody's text is just amazing.
Yeah, because when Pizza Hut SMSs me, I really need to reply quickly to that.
Just because you don't have to doesn't mean no one else does.
I get texts from friends and real people who actually are waiting for my responses, and I'm like in the middle of a game when I'm going poop, and I'm like, do I minimize it or background this game so that I can say die in a fire, or do I keep playing my game and respond to them later and then end up forgetting and then never say die in a fire?
You play games on your iPhone?
When I'm pooping. What else do you do while you're pooping?
Read Reddit.
No, I play games, bro. I poop games, man. I poop games out of my butt.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to wrap this one up.
We didn't talk about the international, though. The Dota.
It's something to do with Dota.
Did you ever watch it? I put lots of links in Slack trying to get everyone to make use of to check it out.
No one's watched this.
You're all worthless. Well, now
you did say it was on ESPN though.
It was on ESPN 3 with a special on ESPN 3. It's their internet thing, like their online thing. But they put a special on ESPN 2. Yeah. The night before the grand finals, which was hilarious because if you looked it up on Twitter, it was all people like tweeting ESPN like, what is this garbage you guys are putting on TV right now? Video games are not sports. Why is this on my ESPN? Blah, blah, blah.
Because ESPN has never put anything like that on the air before.
Spelling bees on, and nobody wants to bitch about that. But
you know what?
That's awesome.
I'm pretty sure people bitched about it.
So, thanks to the international though, the guys that won it,
China.
They're from China. They are now, each of them are the top 5 highest earners in esports, or whatever you want to call it.
There was like a huge tournament. There was a huge pot if you won this thing, right?
They won $1 million $5,000 each. So $5,025,000 total they won.
Kids, your mom lied to you. You can't make a living playing video games.
Why did they win $1 million and $5,000? What was the $5,000?
Well, the prize pool was $5,028,000. $28,017.58. So each player got $1,005,603.
Where does the stupid money come from?
Because it's all the players the fans contribute money. It was like a crowdfunded prize pool, so that's just the amount they ended up with.
That's a lot of money that got contributed. Wow,
that's ridiculous.
It started at 1.6 million and it finished at 10.9 million. So there was a huge contribution from the players. But yeah, so those guys are the the richest.
This is going to be huge. Esports is going to be huge, guys. I'm calling it.
And what makes me happy though is that there is not a League of Legends player on the top earning esportsman until the 44th person.
Nobody cares, Dave.
35 of those above them are all Dota players. So suck on that, lol. You suck.
There. PewDiePie makes more money than any of them, so suck on that.
That's true, and he doesn't even have any skill. He's not even good at playing video games.
So there you go. There you go. On that depressing note, we're going to end. Hey, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the new higher sound quality, assuming none of us have screwed up the recording here. Let us know what you think. You can let us know what you think about anything we've said or that at facebook.com/Technophilia podcast. You can find us at Twitter at @TheTechnophilia, or you can email us. You can find all of our individual email addresses at makeuseof.com/about. They're all there. Send me rabbits, people. I love rabbits.
About.com/makeuseof. That's the URL.
Now it's makeuseof.
No.
No. Makeuseof.net.
.uploads.biz.
So I'm thinking if our videos did actually record well today, Justin.
Yeah.
We should probably make this a video podcast feed as well, and then throw that on iTunes.
Are we gonna split this?
If we do that and we put it on iTunes, we have a chance of being in the new and noteworthy because we'd be a new feed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. And we can try it. We can try it. I mean, it's gonna be a crap ton of bandwidth cost, isn't it?
And then you will be able to subscribe to the video feed instead of the audio feed, and you can see all that crazy antics that we get up to because it's like totally different.
There you go. Let's go ahead and try that. I'm just worried about, like, this is going to be a couple gigs worth of video, isn't it?
Who cares about the CDN cost? No, it's not going to be a couple gigs. It'll be compressed down to 720p, and it'll be like 800, 900 megs probably.
Okay, we'll try it. We'll try it, guys. See if you like it. We'll give you the choice if no one picks it up.
It's like we're uploading 1080p uncompressed video with it at like a high bit rate or anything. So
Kashi says James's audio sucked last week. Yes,
we are well aware. That's why there was not a post on Make Use Of about even the show, because we were like, it's so bad it's not even worth promoting.
He sounded like Bowser from the Mario. Like the first thing he said, I'm just like, holy crap.
Podcast audio was still fine because I used that from Hangouts.
Used the Hangouts. It was fine. Yeah. It wasn't as good as it could have been because we sound better.
It was acceptable.
Yeah.
And there was a part in the live feed where you cut out too, because I was gonna just like use that and then use the video and then put it together, but then I remembered there was a couple parts where your internet went like you sound like a robot, and I was like, well,
me or James?
James. So I was like, it's not gonna get. It's still bad either way. So
okay, whatever. It's an experiment. It's ongoing. Let us know how you like the changes. How do you like my rants at the top of the show? Would you prefer James ranted? Like, let's get into this. But for now, let's end the show.
You want us to film it naked? Let us know that.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know what you've got feedback. We're hoping to make this a lot. We're hoping to make this better for you guys. That's what matters.
A lot more nudity. That's what we're going for.
You're listening to Techno. You're listening to Techno. You're listening to Technophilia. Listening to Technophilia. Technophilia. You're listening. Technophilia.
Well, I don't know who assigned that arbitrary rule that you can't drink in the morning, but I say bullshit.
Should we move on to the news then? Or you got something else? We'll see. get off the internet and get to work.
I'm too perfect anyway. I got nothing to fix.
You're listening to Technophilia. Keep doing that. Technophilia.